Good morning. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. This is the Buck Stops here, and we are at Bridgeway House. They have two locations, one out at Camp Creek Elementary School in Springfield. We are in the downtown, right in the Presbyterian Church in Eugene, and we'll talk a little bit more about Bridgeway House in a moment. They work with people who have autism or are on the spectrum, and this is Matthew, and he is autistic. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just who he is. But people with autism communicate differently. And so Bridgeway House helps people, both neuronormals and people with autism, to communicate. And so Matthew is new to the program. In fact, I think he just started, didn't he?
He did.
Okay, so hold on. You got to meet Mom. This is Mom. So tell him who you are.
My name is Sharon. I have two kids. He is my second, and he's 4. And so we just got into the program. We actually were on a very long waiting list and had to work through a lot of insurance hoops to be able to get him in here. But they have been amazing to be able to work with me. It's been actually since I first applied a year and a half.
So you have, but you knew that Bridgeway House was the place you needed to get
Yes.
Matthew.
Yeah, there's a few options, but not very much. I wish there was more, actually. But this one was always, everyone said was the best, so that's why I wanted this one.
When did you first figure out that Matthew was autistic?
He got an official diagnosis about a year and a half ago, but we knew something was different at 12 months. He wasn't responding like other children were, especially my daughter. The comparison was way different. And so he got tested. The doctors eliminated all sorts of things, including hearing. And then when they finally set up saying maybe this is what it is, we went through all the hoops with the CDRC, and then we made that happen.
So when you first found out, what did you think?
It's hard. It definitely changes your perspective on a lot of different things, expectations. I know for me personally, it's changed my job. I mean, it's changed a lot of how people interact with my family and what I do and what my kids do. But it's something also that's brought more understanding about the different people in the community. And I just wish more people would be more exposed to it, because it is there's a lot of people that are affected by this.
And there's nothing wrong with Matthew.
No.
he just sees the world and communicates differently.
Absolutely.
So you have to, while he's learning to communicate with the neuronormal world, you get to learn how to communicate better with the autism spectrum.
Yes, and it's a new thing every day that I'm learning. And I will never claim to be an expert. I lean on a lot of people within the community, and also his doctors and his therapists, to be able to help bridge whatever gap that we have, and it's an everyday thing for us.
So you guys, the reason we're here, come here, Jake, if you would. And this is Jake. So Jake, so you are dating the family, basically, right?
Yeah, from day one, I was told about Matthew and McKenna, so I was well aware of what I was going to be getting into here with this.
So, but you've decided to do something. So tell people what you're doing. You're turning 40, and so your midlife crisis has turned into what?
Well, like a lot of people, I wasn't looking forward to turning 40. A lot of people wanted to celebrate it with me, which is great, but I really wasn't feeling it. So on my 40th birthday, I've chosen to walk 40 miles for charity, which is Bridgeway House, to raise money for them so that other people have access to the services that Bridgeway House provides.
So he's walking 40 miles in Junction City, back and forth, starting Saturday morning. Kind of tell them how that all works.
It's going to start at 7 a.m. That's when it officially starts. There will be a couple booths there if you want to come by and talk to Bridgeway House staff, if you want to make a donation, if you want to come by and say hi, wish me happy birthday, you can. Those are going to be located at the Guarantee RV Body Shop and at Amazing Creations. Those are both right on Ivy Street, so you guys will be able to find it just fine.
And you've already done some preliminary work, or you are doing, and you're going to be going to businesses that already know and they're going to be donating to you, right?
Right. We already have a lot of people already on board. We would like to have a lot more. We want to raise $10,000 here for Bridgeway House. We're not there yet, so we're doing whatever we can to try to get that high.
So when I heard about this, I got a hold of my client Scott Weld over at Bucks Sanitary, and we do a show called The Buck Stops Here, which this is. And that's kind of why we do this, is because the buck really stops here in our community. You know, you can sit around and feel sorry, which nobody needs to be felt sorry for in the autism spectrum. And you guys just are so happy to be at Bridgeway House that this is your charity you decided to choose to donate to.
Yeah, like I said, I've heard about this for about a year and a half. This is where Sharon wanted to get Matthew too. So if it's that important, I got to make sure I'm a part of that.
So I understand from Faith that, not my Faith, but from Faith, the person we're going to talk with, that this is kind of out of character for you. Not that you're not a kind and warm, gentle guy, but you're not really like explain that.
I'm not an all me person usually, and unfortunately I kind of have to be the forefront of this. Someone has to be doing something to help raise the money for it. So I've been selected for that, which is great, but really it's everyone else that's involved. It's a complete we effort here, not a me effort.
All right. So hold on, Jake, go back and do your thing. Come here. Okay, you guys, so I want you to know, we're going to talk to Patricia in a second, but this is where the rubber hits the road. So tell them who you are.
Hi, I'm Catherine Ryerson, and I'm a board-certified behavior analyst with Bridgeway House.
So this is one of the people that just actually is doing the work and sitting down with kids. And we're not talking about Matthew. He is now a client, but he's not. You haven't even really worked with him yet. So when we're talking, this is in general with people like this.
Yes.
So what do you do when someone is a young person like that? Like you're watching them? What are you trying to figure out?
Well, so first, usually we'll have an intake, and at that intake, we'll do a parent interview. We have a detailed questionnaire. We do an assessment, and all those things help us identify areas that need certain focus. And usually those areas of focus are communication, social and emotional skills, and self-help skills.
So you're trying to teach both the parent and the child, or the person on the spectrum, how to communicate in the world.
Yes, absolutely. And so a lot of that usually with these little kids is just something simple as pointing. A lot of these kids don't have any way to be able to functionally communicate simple things that they want. And when they don't have a functional communication system, usually that translates to certain behaviors that can be challenging.
Well, because if you think about it, as any human being, if you cannot communicate with the people around you, or you don't have a way of communicating, you're going to get frustrated.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's going to show up in some way.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing is really bridging. Is that why you named it Bridgeway House? You're bridging a gap between the neuronormal world and the autistic world,
right?
Which it's phenomenal.
Yeah, we want them to be able to function within society in the ways that benefit them. We don't want to change who they are as people. They have quirks about them that are special and unique. We just want to make it to where they're safe and able to have socialization and function within that society. And then that also goes into talking with the parents and making it to where they're able to have a home that works for them as a family.
So you're not retraining anyone. You are really educating them on how to communicate, and that's both sides. So you're really working with neuronormals, and you're working with people on the autism spectrum.
Yeah, because as people too, we need to understand we can tend to want to go into this way of focusing on negative aspects and not necessarily giving enough praise. And so we want to teach parents that to focus on the things that they're doing correctly, to encourage them to do those things more.
So what do you learn from people on the autism spectrum? What's the single biggest thing that you've learned about yourself?
I would say that they have really taught me creativity, that they are so unique. All of us are unique, and it's just so exciting to see how determined some of these kids are, how brilliant they are, and just seeing the progress that's made between them, us, and the family.
Now, was that better than you thought?
Yeah.
Okay, Patricia, come here. We have to talk to Patricia. So Patricia has been around in this world for, I don't mean you in this world, but I mean in the world.
Are you saying I'm old?
No, because I came to you a long time ago.
Yes.
You started this because your daughter is on the autism spectrum.
She is, yes.
And when she was little, you didn't think she was going to be able to do much.
Well, I was told she wouldn't be able to do much, but I knew she would be able to do a lot.
And tell people what she's done, because I love this.
Well, she just graduated from U of O with her BA in English, and we're very proud of her. We weren't. I wasn't even sure she would get a diploma from high school. So this is a long journey. It's been a long journey.
1 in 59 people today is diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So this is either we're discovering this population or it's a growing population.
It's a growing population.
It's a growing population. So it's really great for all of us to understand and communicate in a different way. So we understand, I think a lot of times people on the autism spectrum get looked down on or made fun of or bullied. And when they grow up, they are some of the most amazing people.
They are.
Yeah, well, they are when they're little, but they really turn in. I mean, there's some amazing things that come out of this world because of them.
Well, and it's important that our community gets ready for them, to come down and give them jobs and support them in different ways, because not just with a job, but with their abilities. A lot of these kids have special gifts, and they're very focused on their special gift, and they could add a lot to a company or our community.
So here at Central Presbyterian, you have how many classrooms and how many kids?
Well, this is our main headquarters, so probably in some capacity or another, we are serving about 500 children a week through Bridgeway House, whether it's parent support groups or, yes, that's the numbers they've come up with, whether it's be from parent support group or SHAPE or a play production or ABA or the school. The school itself has about 80 students. Catherine or Evan would know best how many are the ABA, 35 and ABA home programs.
So a few years ago, you actually became my neighbors out in Camp Creek when the school, Camp Creek Elementary, where my kids went to school, closed, and you actually, they moved in. Yes. And I'm so happy. I'm proud to tell everybody I got the best neighbors in town. So you have a bunch of children out there at the school from how many different school districts?
13 different school districts and 3 different counties. So all of Lane County. The school basically grew out of the need of the community, the districts. So it wasn't part of the vision plan.
When you started this, you were just a frustrated mom, if I remember correctly, looking for answers for your kid. And you have now, and I know you don't like to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. You've now helped hundreds of families have hope for their kids and themselves, and understand the future. That's pretty amazing, Patricia.
Well, thank you. I did. Really, I went into it with one mindset, and it really was to help my child. And if anybody wanted to come along, that was fine. If somebody came to me and asked me to start a nonprofit today, I might laugh. I had no idea what I was getting into. But I have met the most amazing children and families on this journey that are lifetime friends and people I look up to.
So what's the one piece of advice, I'll just kind of close with this, that you could give us as, since still the major part of the population is considered neuronormal, what could you help, you know what I'm trying to get at. What kind of advice do you give people when dealing with this issue?
You mean if it's a parent with a new child with autism?
No, I'm talking about the rest of us in culture. Just when we see people on the street and they're acting differently than we are, you know?
Not to make a judgment. As humans, we tend to judge other people, stand back and look at other people and judge what they're doing. We're not walking in their shoes. We don't know that their child's screaming. We don't know if that child has autism or if they're overwhelmed by the lights of the grocery store. So openness and different perspectives, to always think differently. Take another perspective, like you're walking in somebody else's shoes.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they're dealing with this, or they have questions, there is a long waiting list because there's a lot of people in this position. But how do they get a hold of you?
Well, they can go on our website, www.bridgewayhouse.org, or they could call us at 541-345-0805.
Patricia, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for being in my neighborhood. I love that. Okay, Faith, come here. One last little pitch for this is Faith. You know, you got to, with every project, you got to have a little faith.
That's right.
So this is what we got. So you're kind of helped put this together. And how can people get involved with Jake's mission here for Matthew?
Well, we have got a lot of sponsors already, especially up and down Ivy Street. People have been really generous and wanting to be involved. We are going to have 2 booths, one at Amazing Creations, one at Guarantee. Stop by, say hi, cheer Jake on. We'll have signs up having the last mileage that he had when he went by. We'll have Bridgeway House volunteers there with information. We'll have flyers. We're doing an Abby's Pizza fundraiser from 2 to 7, where 25% of their proceeds go to the Bridgeway House. We're doing everything we can to raise money for this great organization, and it is never too late to donate. Right. And even if you used your budget for this year, consider making Bridgeway House one of your donations for next year.
All right, Faith, thank you. Jake, thanks, man. All right, let's show Matthew one time since he's a star. There he is, big handsome guy. Hi, Matthew. I heard hi. What? So again, you guys, we want to thank Buck Sanitary Service, the Buck Stops here, so we can do stuff like this. It's just good things in the community for people like Matthew and his parents and the community of Junction City. So get involved. I'm Rick Dancer. Thanks for being with us, and we'll be back later. Can you wait?
Bye.
That's awesome.